Good morning, everybody, and this is your Forex day trade setups for today, the 9th of January. Euro USD is a difficult one. I think if you start looking at the 8th hour, we've got a crossover here of the oscillator, so we should be looking for a continuation to the upside. However, we do have this zone of resistance here. If we flip at this point, then I would expect us to come sort of start a new trend to the downside. So I'd expect us to start moving down. So for me at the moment, this is for a buying opportunity. I want to see a pullback, and pullback is to this breakthrough that we had on Friday, and that is at 106,300. So we get back into that area, and it's between that and then, sorry, over there. So there and as far down as 106,073. If price can get back into there and we start getting some bullish price action there, inside bars, pin bars, engulfing bars, then I am a buyer. But until that happens, I am sitting on my hands. Moving on to US dollar Japanese yen, and it does look like we got the rejection of this level higher here, which is 134.509. If you didn't get in on that, which is also the trend line, then you're probably going to get another position or opportunity, should I rather say, to the downside shortly. Now, let's just get rid of that and do that. So there's our first bit of structure, and then there is a little bit more up here. So what we're looking for is a move back to 132.627 or alternatively 132.974 for an opportunity to the downside. Other than that, if we don't get that, it's going to have to be clear before I even consider jumping in for a short here. And the reason being is that above the moving averages, so below the moving averages, then above for 2-3 days, and then below the moving averages. So we're above and below the moving average, which is always an indication of confusion. So if we do get a rejection here, it'll be worth watching, but it's going to have to be a solid rejection, and I'm going to want my oscillators up at the top on the hour before jumping in on this. Otherwise, same as Euro USD, we are sitting on our hands. Moving on to British Pound Japanese Yen. Very much range bound. You can see the week started down, and then we got a strong move up, and it does look like we're trying to reject this area, but we've basically formed a range. Oscillators grouping to the upside. I suspect this is going to continue to the downside. What we need to do, though, is we need to find an area of rejection. Now, when we look at it on the hour, this is a clear range, and you definitely don't want to be shorting up here. You want to be shorting on a break and retest of 158.678. The longer we stay in the range, the higher the probability of it going either way. But also, when you look at it on the 8 hour, if it's a consolidation, and we sort of break and retest here, there is some much bigger targets which could still be to the downside. So that would be a rejection up here at 163.099. So for me, this is a range trade at the moment. I don't like ranges, so for shorts, I'm looking a break of 158.678. For longs, I'm looking for a break of 160.200 before I even start looking at that. And if you do get the break, the upside, and a retest, your measured move is basically, well, let's take it from here to there. So it's 3,685 points, and measure it from here. Pretty much right up there at this previous high over there. That would be your next target. Okay, so need to wait for the break of that range before we start looking at that. Lastly, Euro British Pound, also very much range bound at the moment. Difficult to pick up where we are. We are in a sort of an uptrend at the moment on the 8 hour, and oscillators starting to group back to the downside. So very strong possibility that we get some buying off here. But again, I think for this one, if you look at what happened on most of last week, sort of below and above the moving averages, I'd want to see us break out of this range before I start jumping in on this. So what we're looking for is a break above 0.88750 for longs, or a break below 0.87841 for shorts. And remember, when we get the break, we're looking for a pullback to retest and then the retest needs to be successful before we jump in on it. So that's the only trade that I'm going to have on this pair. We've also got a gap right here in the middle of this range, so I suspect we're probably going to visit that. Just pay attention to this area here for a rejection. If you get a rejection there, might well be worth jumping in on a trade. You're going to get a 100-point stop loss roughly, just above the gap, 160-point stop loss, but you are going to get a 362-point opportunity trade to the downside, so that would be bottom of range. So that's kind of the only trade that I would really look at right now. Anyway, that's it for me today. I hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Cheers for now.